Hi, I'm Dwayne Brown. Tonight on KPBS Evening Edition, a shooting rampage at a Navy yard in the nation's capital leaves 13 people dead. What we're learning about the suspected gunman tonight.
I'm Peggy Pico. Also ahead, how an upcoming surfathon in San Diego helps school-age boys stay out of trouble. But first, San Diego's real estate recovery takes a dip last month. What the slight drop in prices and sales could mean to buyers and sellers.
And a battle over proposed changes to a San Diego neighborhood, how competing measures could affect the character of Barrio Logan for decades. KPBS Evening Edition starts now. Hello, good evening. Thanks for joining us. You're looking at the man accused in a deadly shooting rampage at a Washington, D.C. Navy yard. He has been identified as Aaron Alexis from the Texas area. He was a Navy reservist until 2011 when officials say he was discharged over disciplinary problems. Alexis was working as an IT contractor for the Defense Department. Now, he is one of 13 people killed in this afternoon or early morning shooting. Matt Friedman with the Associated Press has the rest of the story.
The start of a new work week shattered by gunfire. At least one shooter opens fire inside the U.S. Navy yard in Washington.
He aimed his gun at us and he fired at least 2 or 3 shots.
It was like pow, pow, pow. And then in a few seconds it stopped and then it pow, 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 pow. So we just ran.
Witnesses describe a gunman shooting from a 4th-floor balcony down into a 1st-floor cafeteria.
We couldn't see his face, but we could see him with the rifle, and he raised and aimed at us and fired.
The first call of the shooting came in shortly after 8 this morning from Building 197, the headquarters of Naval Sea Systems Command with 3,000 employees. Officials say at least 12 people were killed and several others wounded, including a D.C. police officer. Police also confirmed the death of one gunman.
The actions by the police officers, without question, helped to reduce the number of lives lost.
Security was beefed up at the U.S. Capitol and nearby federal buildings, and several D.C. schools were in lockdown. President Obama received briefings throughout the morning and called it a cowardly act.
We are confronting yet another mass shooting. And today it happened on a military installation in our nation's capital.
The city's mayor said they had no reason to think the rampage was terrorism related. Matt Friedman, Associated Press.
Now, here in San Diego, no security changes were immediately made at military bases following that shooting at the Navy shipyard in Washington. Local Navy base officials say the public can expect normal security procedures and no security changes have been made at Camp Pendleton either. San Diego County will tap into a new federal system to reach folks by cell phone during large-scale emergencies.
Many mobile devices will now bring you wireless emergency alerts.
It uses cell towers to notify people in a particular area to be aware. With peak fire season ahead in the county, the wireless emergency alerts are designed to reach people during a massive wildfire or any other emergency. And the county wants the public to understand how it works.
A wireless alert is limited to 90 characters. It will contain basic information about the emergency, actions people should take to protect themselves, and where people can get more information.
We don't want people to opt out. That's the biggest message we'd like to send today. We want people to recognize the importance of this federal system and for them also to know that we are advocating very heavily for improvements.
The wireless alerts do not replace other notification systems the county uses, such as Alert San Diego, and you don't have to register to get these alerts. And that means tourists or people new to the area can be alerted just like everyone else. The wireless system has already been used by the National Weather Service and for Amber Alerts to find missing children. For the second year in a row, homeowners in San Diego's rural backcountry are being charged a state fire protection fee. The $150 goes to pay for operations such as emergency evacuation plans, fuel reduction, and code enforcement. CAL FIRE says budget cuts left them without a reliable revenue source for wildfire prevention, but a taxpayer group sued to block the fee, claiming the legislature passed it illegally. A ruling on that issue is expected next year. The Affordable Care Act, or Obamacare, is getting started just in time to help thousands of California prisoners on the fast track to being released because of prison overcrowding. How will health reform impact them? We get the answer in our Second Opinion series from Speak City Heights reporter Megan Burks. Megan, we know medical care was a big issue resulting in California's prison realignment. So who's asking our question this week?
Conrad Harris works for Coming Home to Stay. It's a nonprofit that helps former inmates rebuild their lives upon release to City Heights in Southeast San Diego. He says his clients have to first focus on getting a roof over their heads and then work on finding money to pay for that roof over their heads. But he says that next year they'll actually get to think about something more, health insurance. Here's his question.
Well, the question I have with the Affordable Care Act is that the population in which I deal with is how do they access the information to know if they're eligible for the program, do they qualify for the program, and what do they need to do to enroll into the program?
Yeah, he has quite a few questions, but why hasn't health insurance been a priority for former inmates before?
Well, for many, it just simply wasn't an option. Detainees are disproportionately young males who don't make a lot of money, and 90% re-enter our communities without health insurance because childless adults haven't qualified for the public health program Medi-Cal before. So next year, that changes. Childless adults who make less than about $16,000 can get on Medi-Cal, and their criminal records won't come into play.
And so how do former inmates actually get enrolled?
Well, ideally, they should start the process before they're released. If they don't, they can talk to the counselors they're put in touch with through the re-entry process, so folks like Harris. And many of the community agencies that already help people sign up for Medi-Cal and apply for things like food stamps and rental assistance are also getting trained to help people understand their options under Obamacare. For more resources and to ask your own question, go to kpbs.org/secondopinion.
Well, if you're around folks who are sniffling and sneezing right now, you might think flu season or allergies as we head towards the fall. Public health officials say now is a good time to get a flu shot before activity picks up in December. The vaccine is already available at some county clinics and providers. Now, under the new federal health care law, flu shots are free to many folks with insurance, even if they get it through a provider in their health plan. Now, San Diego home prices and sales actually dipped slightly last month. Peggy Pico has more on the housing numbers and the potential impact on buyers and new home construction.
DataQuick reports a slight dip in the median price for homes in San Diego County last month from $417,000 to $415,000. At the same time, home sales dropped in July, and changes to federally backed home loans could make it harder for buyers. Here to put the situation in context are Michael Lee with SDSU's Corky McMillan Center for Real Estate and economist Gary London with the London Group Realty Advisors. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Michael, let's start with you. Even though home prices were slightly lower in July, they're still higher in sales than they were at the same time last year. Does this mean that the housing market is where it should be or where it's expected to be?
Well, I think we've had an unusual housing market and a lot of effects of investors, and I think we're starting to see a return to a more normal level of price increase as well as supply.
And Gary, with housing prices and interest rates rising, who are the typical buyers and sellers now as opposed to before?
Well, before they were distressed buyers and cash buyers, and sellers who were distressed sellers are people who could sell. In other words, they weren't underwater. Now we're seeing a functional transition in the marketplace where we're seeing more viable buyers and sellers start to participate again. And this is why you've seen such a significant increase in housing values over the past year.
When you're talking about the buyers, you were saying distressed, do you mean investors mostly, or do you mean just first-time home buyers that felt they had to get in when the prices were low?
Well, there's been some first-time or repeat home buyers getting into the marketplace, and they were smart to have done it. But I really am talking about people that were taking advantage of the low prices and investing.
Okay, Michael, there's some changes coming for federally backed loans, the Fannie Mae and Freddie Macs. What are some of those changes, and how could they impact buyers here?
Well, in the short term, I think we're going to see a reduction in the loan limits, which are the maximum loan size that Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac can purchase. That's probably going to lead to a slight increase in mortgage rates because people will have to get so-called jumbo loans, which are slightly higher rates than those backed by the government.
And that's going to start happening in January, correct?
That's going to start happening at the beginning of the year.
And these changes, I understand, are part of the government's goal to divest itself, they say, from the housing market. What else, if anything, can we expect to see?
Well, there are reform proposals for dealing with Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac in Congress right now, and they range from the House proposal, which would essentially eliminate them and eliminate most of the government involvement in the mortgage market, to a more moderate approach with the Senate, which would not have Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac anymore, but would have a government guarantee agency that would back those loans.
So maybe new home owners should be watching this, or new home buyers, I should say.
Rates are going to be rising regardless of the type of change that occurs.
In speaking about change, I know, Gary, one good indicator of the health of a real estate market is new home construction. Where do we stand on that here in San Diego?
Oh, we're in a record low situation still. We're up a little bit from the recessionary years, but not nearly at the level that we need to replace to meet the demand in the marketplace. And that's a perpetual situation. We're never going to meet the demand in the market, so we can continue to see pressure of rising housing prices in the foreseeable future.
How come you don't think here we would see the new home constructions? Is it that we're seeing other types, condos, apartments, or is it just something specific to San Diego?
It's not specific to San Diego. It's specific certainly to the West Coast. But the ultimate reason is we've run out of land in San Diego, and we're now starting to build up, whereas we used to be able to build out. We're out of green property, and now we're starting to see more vertical development, which will translate into more condominiums, certainly more apartments being built, a lot less single-family homes.
And Michael, what would be your best advice for home buyers right now?
I think this is a good time to get into the market. I think that interest rates are going to be rising, and house prices will continue to rise even at a slower pace. So affordability is not going to get any better. So I think this is a good time to buy.
And Gary, how about you for, why don't we say sellers right now?
Well, I think you're going to see more and more sellers get into the marketplace as values of housing rise. You're going to see less underwater situations and more people having the ability to actually sell. The fact that we have whatever pace of increase in interest rates probably isn't going to be such a bad thing, because that means that lenders are also going to be more active in being able to loan to these people as well.
So should they sell or wait?
Well, I would say waiting can't hurt, but you'll see more and more people in the market selling.
All right. Gary London and Michael Lee, thank you so much for this update.
You're very welcome.
San Diego's new Central Library opens at the end of the month, but what about the old facility? Our interim mayor, Todd Gloria, says he's making plans to put the old facility to good public use. He's asked Civic San Diego to collect ideas for the 150,000 square foot building and to start looking into a process for soliciting bids. The new downtown library opens September 28th with a big street fair. Lots of history in Barrio Logan. It's a mix of residential homes and industrial warehouses. For 30 years now, the primarily low-income Latino neighborhood has been without a new community plan. Now the city is trying to craft one, but community activists and business interests are bitterly opposed. KPBS Metro reporter Sandia Dirks tells us about the latest battle for Barrio Logan.
Wedged between the freeway and the water and bisected by the Coronado Bridge, the identity of Barrio Logan is very mixed. It's a neighborhood built in the service of the shipyards. Some of its first residents came to work in those yards, but for years, living here has meant breathing in the toxic fumes of industry. Community activist Georgette Gomez shows me around.
This used to be a heavy industrial master plating. It took us 10 years to get them shut down. They used to release hexachromia into the air, and literally their exhaust pipe was right going into these families' homes.
Gomez says it has gotten a lot better. But there are still problems. Just drive down any street, she says, and right next to homes and schools are businesses that make a lot of noise and store a lot of chemicals.
Here you have the Oriental engine. They have a lot of engines in there. And then here you have the petroleum. These are heavy chemicals that are being stored there right in front of affordable housing, and housing project. Not the best thing to have be sited right in front of them. You know, to me, it's just like, I don't want it ever to happen, but it's an accident waiting to happen. And that's what they want to protect.
When Gomez says they, she's referring to the shipbuilding industry. Chris Wall represents shipbuilders and other industrial interests.
Everybody wants to have a better separation of uses. We're all on the same page on that. But it can't be at the expense of the shipyards and their future.
The rub for Wall comes down to what amounts to just a few square blocks, what both sides refer to as a buffer or a transition zone. It's an area that's meant to separate industry from residents. Wall says that land should be zoned for commercial industries that serve the shipyard.
It's hard to believe it's come down after 5 years and $3 million to 2 blocks, but it has. And I think it's a principal issue. I think the fact of the matter is that the shipyard and maritime industry believes that the city would rather have homes than the shipbuilding industry there.
Wall says the new zoning would allow for 500 new homes within 1,000 feet of the shipyards, a plan he says would effectively end the shipbuilding industry in San Diego. Derry Pence is the president of the Port of San Diego Ship Repair Association. He says new development could gentrify the neighborhood and price out low-income residents. And he also worries houses built too close to the yards would force them to close.
When you look out your window and all you see are cranes, you're not going to be a happy camper. That's not what you paid for. Well, if I can move you back a little bit, when you open the blinds, you'll see the beautiful blue sky of San Diego, and other residential units, and life will be good.
But opponents say that idyllic picture is a bit of a red herring. Councilmember David Alvarez represents Barrio Logan. He also grew up there. He says what the maritime industry is proposing wouldn't create a buffer between homes and businesses. It would just be more of the same, homes next to chemicals and loud machinery. But Alvarez says if there is a concern that housing will spring up, let's get rid of that part of the plan. So he's crafted a compromise which would have no housing or industry in the buffer zone.
We want to not encroach on industry because those jobs are good jobs and we want to keep them, but we also don't want to put industrial uses next door to somebody who lives in Barrio Logan or who will live there in the future when development continues.
He worries a lot of misinformation is being spread, like people being told if the plan passes, they will lose their homes.
Scare tactics are being used. This is a campaign, well-financed campaign, full of lies, unfortunately.
Back in Barrio Logan, Environmental Health Coalition's Maria Moya is at a community meeting. She's trying to get the word out about the plan. She says a lot of different information is being passed around, and residents are scared.
The community is hearing that they're telling the shipyard workers that if the alternative one passes, NASCO is going to close. That's a total, absolute lie. We're not going after no industrial uses. We want the protection zone, but to protect them and protect the residents. But in no ways are we that stupid to say we want to close the shipyards. We know that that's an economic. My husband worked there for 35 years.
And that's the thing. The shipyards are an integral part of the community. They are tied together through proximity and history. And the two sides are going to have to find a buffer they can both agree on. Sandhya Dirks, KPBS News.
And San Diego City Council takes up the new community plan tomorrow. African-American men of a certain age are more likely to be in prison than any other ethnic group. Peggy Pico finds out how a San Diego group is trying to change the odds.
The Boys to Men Mentoring Network will hold its annual 100 Wave Surfathon this coming Saturday to raise money for its work in helping keep boys out of trouble. Executive Director of Boys to Men, Craig McLean, and Spring Valley Middle School Principal Dana Wright join me with some details. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you for having us.
Craig, How long has this nonprofit group been in San Diego, and how many boys are in the program?
We started Boys and Men 16 years ago, and we just started our school program 4 years ago. There's about 400 boys in the school program right now at 12 schools.
This is a mentoring program. Who are the mentors, and exactly what do they do?
The mentors are just men from the community who show up to the school, and it's called a community mentoring program. And we just show up and sit in a circle and talk with these boys about what it takes to be a good man. And we tell them, you know, what some of our problems are, what some of our successes are, what our failures are, and then we ask them, you know, what's going on in your life? And they tell us.
And Dina, what's the impact been that you've seen so far at Spring Valley Middle School?
It's been a tremendous impact. These boys that they work with are usually the boys that are very intense. They're not focused on school. They're causing disruptions, not just for themselves, but for other kids. It's taking a lot of teacher time, administrative time, and these boys really transform in front of our eyes when they become connected to the mentors and have a place to belong, be listened to, and mentored on what a good choice would be.
How is the mentoring being provided to these boys? How is that different than what teachers and or counselors are providing?
And that is our job, to take care of kids and be there for them, but our role is to be focused on the academics and provide their schooling as well as take care of them and their well-being, but we don't have the resources or the time that it takes. The Boys to Men can put in. They really build meaningful relationships that we can't do in the course of a 54-minute period.
Craig, we don't have to take Dana's word for it. The University of San Diego recently released a new study on your participants. Can you sum up some of those major findings for us?
Yeah, we help the boys become better men. We help them get better grades, we help them have less discipline issues, and we help them go to school more.
That's right. I understand both the parents and the students, and we're talking big numbers here. We're talking, 90% said, the parents said their sons got along better with kids, and even the kids themselves said that, look, I'm going to school more and my studies are improving. So that's pretty big for this age group.
This is a big case study for us.
Let's talk about this age group. The Public Policy Institute reports that a little more than half of California's adult male population are non-white, but 3 out of 4 male prisoners are Black, Latino, or Asian. Let me start with you, Dana. Do you see a discrepancy in schools based on ethnic groups, or is it across the board at that age?
I think it's across the board, and I have a very diverse school population. That's what I love about my school, is that we have all ethnicities there. White is actually a minority at my school, and it really doesn't matter what color you are, where you come from. It's a group that these boys can connect to no matter what.
Craig, do you think this discrepancy, what do you think is behind this?
Well, there is a huge problem in the African American community of fatherlessness. 66% of boys, African American boys, are growing up without a dad. So when they come to our program, they don't care if we're Black, white, or Hispanic. They just care that we're there.
Somebody cares.
Yeah, and the numbers are staggering for these kids. I mean, one out of 3 boys who drop out of high school will end up in prison.
How do boys, Craig, how do they get involved in this? Are they referred to you?
At the middle schools, yeah, at the middle schools, and the staff refers boys at risk to us, and we go in there after school and also during the school day, and we just sit with them and they tell us what's going on, and then now they know they have someone who finally cares about them, and that's really all it takes for them to start making changes in their lives.
What about the surfathon? So this is something you're doing. What's going to happen there?
Well, the surfathon is cool because we got 15 of our boys who've never surfed before. We teach them how to surf. That's part of the program. We get mentors that hear about us on radio and TV shows like this, and it's 100 waves in 12 hours. We got 150 surfers raising $1,000 each, and this is what supports our program.
Right, and then Dina, let me just end on this one here. So, as far as education and focusing this in the school, why do you think it's important, or what would you say to critics who might say, this is maybe an outside program? Should it be in our schools?
I wish that we could take care of kids on the outside like that, but they don't. These kids come to school. They have to be at school by law, so we need to meet them where they are, and they're in our schools. And when they can't focus, we've got to bring something in that matches that. So this program does that for us.
All right. Well, I want to let folks know that more information about this weekend's Surfathon and Boys to Men Mentoring Network is on our website, kpbs.org. So co-founder of Boys to Men, Craig McClain, thanks so much. And Spring Valley Middle School Principal Dana Wright, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'm Judy Woodruff on the next News Hour. How climate change is altering shipping routes in the Arctic. That's Tuesday on the PBS News Hour.
In honor of Hispanic Heritage Month, San Diego Councilman David Alvarez recognized Chicano musician and activist Chunky Sanchez in a special ceremony at City Hall. Sanchez is a recent honoree of the National Endowment for the Arts, the nation's highest honor in folk and traditional arts. Well, we'll see the return of early morning clouds and fog like this morning, then a mix of sun and clouds along the coast tomorrow and the next few days, with temperatures mostly in the low to mid-70s right through Thursday. Morning clouds turning to sunshine inland by afternoon, mid-80s. Plenty of sunshine in the mountain areas, low 80s the next few days, above 100 in the desert tomorrow, then cooler by midweek. You can find tonight's stories and download the KPBS app, all on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thanks for joining us. Good night.